sommes également très heureux d'accueillir cette année un nouveau partenaire du manager de l'année, l'agence de publicité Ogilvy Réunion. Le réseau Ogilvy, c'est 497 bureaux à travers le monde et constitue à Maurice, Madagascar, Mayotte et la Réunion le premier réseau d'agences de publicité de l'océan Indien. Et nous avons l'honneur d'accueillir pour l'occasion Monsieur Ato Afful, le directeur général d'Ogilvy Afrique.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, I can't speak French. I wish I could. But I'll try in the next 2-3 minutes to speak my English slowly so that it will make sense to everybody. I want to talk about 3 things. I want to talk about brands, I want to talk about marketing and marketing communication, and the current economic challenges that we all find ourselves in. The finance people call it a recession. As to what it means, we are not very sure. First of all, if you look at brands and the brands that we are, we all know that we talk about our Danone, our Castel, our Orange, Ogilvy, Eco Austral, and all of those other brands that we deal with. Those are brands that we are aware of, and those are brands that we know. We'll go on to talk about other consumer brands like Louis Vuitton, the famous French brand that we do work for. We'll talk about businesses that we represent in France, for example, Société Générale. They're all brands that we know of. However, today we're not here to do brand work on the consumer and services that we look after, but then we're looking at human beings as brands also. And the individuals that we've listed here, I think there are about 5 of them for nomination for these awards. They are human beings and they are brands. Let's not forget about that. And brands have value. It is that value that those human beings represent. Unfortunately, I think they're all men. I didn't see a woman's picture. So where are the female brands? We need to find them and grow them and make them strong and important in the business that we run. Secondly, I want to talk about communication and the communication industry that we find ourselves in. Communication by virtue of technology. I think the Monsieur Orange client was talking about technology and he pulled his BlackBerry out. I think everybody in this room has a little piece of a gadget that you don't leave home without. That little instrument, whether it's a cell phone, it's a BlackBerry, it's an iPod, whatever, has changed our lives so much. Interestingly, with those digital developments, we're talking about, when we went to marketing school, for those marketers around here, they used to talk about something they call push marketing, where you will take a message for a brand, for a product, for a service, and then just put it on TV, put it in the newspaper, put it in Eco Austral, and then just try to get consumers such as ourselves to take that message in. That phase of the business has changed. It is no longer that way any longer. And cellular in particular on this continent in Africa has done that in a tremendous way. The cell phone as we know it has changed this continent entirely. If you travel across this continent, very few people have fixed lines, the ordinary telephone at home or in the office. But everywhere you turn, you will see a cell phone. From the fishermen who go to sea to catch fish to sell, to the people who sell cereal and staples by the roadside and everywhere, have had their lives changed by that simple technology and others linked to it. I think, interestingly, what it has done is that we don't have that opportunity of pushing information across anymore. We are engaging with our consumers. The younger people among us, I'm a very old man, who get onto things like Facebook, Mixage, and all of those other little technological gadgets, are engaging with those services and those opportunities in terms of engagement platforms simply because they're interested in what it is that those platforms are giving. And I think that it's important as marketers, as owners of brands, as communicators and leaders of business and captains of industry to be aware of those opportunities and to learn to take advantage of that as well. Finally, we are living in very uncertain times and very unpredictable times. The financial experts are telling us about something they call a recession. What that means, how that happened, where it came from, we don't know. When it's going to end, we are not even sure about. You see big brands like Lehman Brothers, JP Morgan and others struggling in the world, and you're like, how did that happen? You know, giants and strong rocks like this island, you wake up one morning, they'll tell you Union Island doesn't exist anymore. How would you feel? But that has happened. It's happening in our lifetime. As to where it ends, we are not sure of. My challenge is that if we want to continue to survive in this business, to survive as brands, to survive as marketers, to survive as businesses, we need to find a humble way to engage with our consumers. People are very inclined to say to themselves, oh, there's a global recession, let's cut. Let's stop all our brand effort, all our marketing communication, all the services that we provide. We'll cut our people, some of our good people, so let's sack people from work, reduce cost immediately. Say, oh no, cut marketing, sack 200 people here, 10% here, this and that. That is not necessarily the solution. Consumers are living in uncertain times and they want somebody to hold their hands like that and lead them along. It is that challenge that leader brands like Orange, like Eco Austral, and other brands that we know of, that will provide that service, that will become the winners. So my advice is simple. Do not, in no uncertain terms, begin to think that we're living in difficult times and so we will just cut the brands that provide the money. It's a chicken and egg situation. You say to yourself, this 10% of that communication budget would save me so much at this stage. But what happens 5 months from now, 6 months from now? It is those leader brands that take that gold stamp and decide that we're going to lead the processes that we engage in. Those are the ones that will be successful. There's a saying in English that it is the early bird that catches the worm. Somebody, they wrote a French line for me. I said it in English and I said, I want to think in French. And they translated into English for me and said, your French saying says, the world belongs to those who wake up early. Madame, would you be able to say that last line for me?
Le monde appartient à ceux qui se lèvent tôt.
Thank you very much.